Hello everyone, my name is Azza Mohammed and my presentation today is going to be about paleography and codicology, the science of creating a critical edition of a work from medieval manuscript. This is a collaboration between me and Dr. David Bertena from the History Department. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, here's a picture of me and Dr. Bertena working at his office. I am originally from Sudan, from the capital, Khartoum. I came to America 5 years ago with my husband after I got married. I'm currently pursuing a master's degree in public health with a focus on epidemiology, and I work as a gypsy at the Illinois Health Department at the Infectious Diseases Office. So I guess you're thinking, why are you doing a history project? The text that we aim at producing a critical edition of is in Arabic, and my native language is Arabic. But this wasn't the only reason why I applied for that position. I became so interested in the history of religions. I started researching my own sets of beliefs, and I was interested in the holy books and how they came together. So one day I was sitting at my computer and I saw an ad for this position and I applied for it, and Dr. Bertena was creative enough to accept me. So why a collaboration is important? A collaboration indeed improves student critical thinking and decision making, and also it helps in our capabilities in creating and presenting research, especially for someone like me who came from a completely different culture. And also, it helped me in studying worldviews and learn about different biases. So this was particularly important because the book that we were studying was written by someone who was a Muslim and converted to Christianity. And as a Muslim myself, I had to think objectively and look to this project through an unbiased eye, away from my own prejudice and my own sets of beliefs. So I think I'm missing a slide. So just before I tell you about paleography, I would like to tell you about the objectives of this project. Give us that slide. I wanted to tell you about the objectives of this project. We wanted to create a critical edition of a medieval Arabic work. The text that we were working on is named Kitab al-Wadih, and it was written by someone called Bulis ibn Raja, who was living around the 10th century. As I told you, he was a former Muslim. He was born and raised as a Muslim, and later in his life he converted to Christianity, and actually he became a monk and a theologian, and he decided to defend his new beliefs and to critique the sources of Islam. So we had 3 copies of that text, and we looked at these copies and we tried to identify all the variations between them. These variations were introduced through unintentional mistakes that was made by the scribes who copied these texts by hand. And our main objective was to create an Arabic text that is as close as possible to the original one and a parallel English translation. So paleography is the study of ancient writing systems and the deciphering and dating of historical manuscripts. In simple words, is the study of ancient writing. When you look at handwriting, you cannot communicate with someone from a different time. So, for instance, if there's a word that we didn't know exactly if he meant to write this one or write this one, by looking long enough at someone's handwriting, you can decide if he really wanted to say this or to say the other thing. An example would be, this is a small part from a paragraph in Manuscript A, and this is an example from Manuscript B. And even if you don't understand Arabic, you can just notice the similarities. that I would like you to look at this part. In manuscript A, it starts by Bismillah, which means in the name of the Father. But when you compare it to manuscript B, it says Bismillahil-Ab, which means in the name of the God, the Father. So you can notice here that there was an addition of a word, which is Allah or God. This simple addition suggests that manuscript B was actually written later than manuscript A. So we can date text based on the science of paleography. Codicology is the science of evaluating and describing a physical manuscript. An example of that would be a colophon. A colophon is basically a paragraph at the very end of a manuscript. This is manuscript C, and it was written in Syriac. From this paragraph, we can know a lot about the manuscript. We can know when it was written, where it was written by who, and who was the audience of that book. So here is a translation of that colophon, and you can see that it was written in November in 1470 AD, and it was written by Father Al-Jalil in Lebanon. And the original book was actually written in Egypt, but one of the copies was done in Lebanon. So that tells you also a lot about the history of the book. So as I said, our main objective was to produce a critical edition by comparing the copies of the manuscript to create a version as close as possible to the original one. And for that matter, we include all of the variants that we found, and we footnote them in that edition that we're going to produce. Here you can see side by side a paragraph from the Arabic text, and this is a translation of it. And here he's just talking about him leaving his his former belief system and embracing the new one. He's saying, I had formerly been among those who objected to its mention and was an unbeliever in his religion that he chose for himself and his angels and his prophets and his devoted listeners, choosing unbelief. Satan had hardened my heart, presenting my evil works favorably to me. So why is that project valuable? I was so amazed when I was doing this project. Looking at such a book, it's like looking through a window into that time, the 10th century. And from it, you can look at the relationships between the Christians and the Muslims at that time. And I was surprised to know that the same conversation that they were having at that time, we're still having today. So I think the topic of religion is very relevant. It is a hot topic. You can hardly, listen to the news without finding any topic about religion. It is central to many modern events. The issues of the religion freedom. Last May, in my own country, Sudan, a woman by the name of Maryam Ibrahim, she was sentenced to death because she decided to convert from Islam to Christianity. And even here in America, the issues of religion and free speech. In Indiana, they passed a law about the freedom of expressing religion. I forgot its name. The
RFRA, I think.
Religious
Freedom.
Yes, the Religious Freedom Act. And it caused a huge controversy because people felt that it will allow business owners to discriminate against the gays and lesbian citizens. And of course, the recent radicalization of Islam, the issues of ISIS and the religious sectarianism and the problems between the Shia and the Sunnis. So at the end, shukran, thank you. So if you have any questions.
Like my kid in class. But can you say more about what this what's in this text that you are producing the edition of? I mean, obviously it's about his conversion.
Yep.
Can you say more about the topic?
Well, he's mainly critiquing the sources of Islam, the main sources, the Quran and the oral tradition. He's using apologetic style. He starts by the Quran and defends the area. He critiques the areas that he thinks it's weak. And he looks at the oral tradition, looking at the Prophet himself. And after that, he starts to compare it to Christianity. And why is it a better religion and more valid than Islam? That's basically what he's doing.
Okay, so it's a kind of apology in the traditional sense of having a kind of defense and describing the basis for his conversion.
Yes.
What brought you to choose this text in particular? I'm aware there's like so many of those texts out there. Why did this one speak to you as needing a critical edition to go through?
Well, actually, that wasn't my choice.
This is the only medieval example we have of a convert from Islam to Christianity who has written after their conversion about it. So there are only two known critiques of Islam from the medieval period written in Christian Arabic. The other one, the author is an Arab Christian. So this is the only example. So we don't have any all other texts that mention Muslim converts to Christianity are always written by third persons. They're usually hagiographies talking about the saints' lives of these martyrs and whatnot. So this is absolutely unique in terms of the pre-modern age as a Christian Arabic text written by a convert.
So how does it compare to the other one that you were just saying?
The other one has a lot of affinities with it. It's written by Abdul Masih al-Kindi. It also deals with the history and origins of the Quran. And so their topic is the same, their attitude is quite similar. But the other one, this one is very different because of the approach to the oral traditions, which is absent in the other one, and because he cites Islamic sources the way the other one doesn't. Because he was a Muslim, he'll cite what are called transmission lines going back from him to prove his authorities, which is also unique in Christian Arabic literature. So he takes on some different topics and he uses different methods that you wouldn't find in a Christian text.
So they sort of exegetical methods that are particular to
Islam. Yes.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.